Hello, today we will be looking at the quotes to cash process in Sage1. Sage1 is an online accounting and payroll solution meant for the very small startup companies or businesses. In order to start this process, I will simply go to my customer quotes, and the customer quotes page will show me a list of all the quotations that I have raised so far within this company and also their status. So it will tell me if this quote has been accepted, if it is pending, if it has been invoiced, or if it's expired rather. Okay. Now before I go on, somebody once asked me how they can manage prospect with Solution should they not have the Sage CRM. So before I answer that question, Sage Solution integrates seamlessly with the Sage CRM. However, to answer your question, the only workaround there I can give you is while creating the customer, you can add a category called prospect. And then when you create that customer, so say for instance this particular customer I've created here, I have assigned it to a category that is called prospect. Now the key thing here is this customer will not be made active until we now decide that okay, this is a full customer, so we want to make the customer active. This is not the way to go, but that is the only workaround should you not have a Sage CRM solution. Now you also asked how will you tie or keep track of all your conversations with the customer. Sage1 has got the notes, so you can add a note and keep track of every single discussion you're having with that particular customer until the deal you're pursuing closes with the customer. Okay, so that's just by the way, that's how you can handle that one. Now it is also important to note that should you go this route, you will not be able to pull out this customer in any reports within Sage1. Okay, you will not be able to pull out any report. So if you're looking for like a list of customers, this customer will be excluded because it is inactive, and you will not be able to raise a quotation for this customer until you convert it for this prospect, until you convert it, him or her to a customer. Okay, right, let's go back to the flow. So we go to customer quotes. Now like I said, this page will show you the list of all the quotations that has been raised. If we take this particular one that is pending, for instance, so here what I've done is you simply select the customer you want to quote, and the system will show you the balance, which is the amount that customer owes your company. Here the document number will be generated automatically by the system, and then here you can put in the customer reference. So should the customer have a request for quotation number, this is where you will put in that number from the document that you will receive. You can tie it to a particular sales rep, and you can also define the expiry date for this particular quotation. So just in case you're giving a discount and you're telling the customer that this discount expires after 7 days, you can map out that day here, so that at the end of that 7 days, Sage1 will automatically expire that quotation and it will not be valid anymore. Okay. Then down here you can input your items. So if it's a stock item, this is where you select the stock item. If it is an account, okay, you can select account and then select the account that should be affected. Okay, and then the price populates down there. And then if you want to attach a particular statement in the quotation, maybe like your bank account details or an information you need to pass across to the customer, Sage1 has got the option of you putting in a default message that will be printed with that quotation. Okay. Now at this stage, if I can save this quotation or I can email it to the customer. If I email it to the customer will get an email containing a link. Okay, that is if I have enabled this customer to view his or her invoices online. The customer will get an email containing a link and from that link the customer can actually log into the customer zone and accept or decline that quote. Okay, so this is how it's going to look like. The customer will get an email like this. Okay, that's the email. Okay, to say you have a quotation to the tune of this amount, please log in and view the quotation. Okay, the system will also attach the quotation as a PDF file, so the customer can always view to say this is the quotation that has been sent to me and I'm okay with it. Okay, now when the customer clicks on that link, it will take the customer into the customer zone. Okay, what we call the customer zone, which is what you have here. Now that particular transaction we were referring to is the second one here, which is let me see, that one there. Okay, that's the amount. If I go back to my quotation, just so you see, so you get what I'm trying to say here. So the second transaction I'm referring to here is this one. Okay, 19,900. The first one has been accepted, so it's a full quotation. The next thing is for it to be invoiced, but this is the one we're dealing with. So like I was saying, the customer will get something like this. When the customer clicks on the link, it will take him or her to this, okay, where he's able to view the quotation online. All right, and then from here the customer has that flexibility to accept the quote or decline the quote. Should the customer accept or decline, you as the company will get an email address depending on what the customer has done here. So if the customer accepts the quote, you will also get an email like this telling you that your customer, which is customer 3, the customer we're dealing with, has sent you the following message: quote accepted, the quote number, and then the message that the customer typed within the quote to say please invoice. Now when you get this message, you have the option of saving it as probably a PDF or a JPEG, and then coming into the system. When you come into the Sage One system here, you can now come in here and attach that document, okay, which is what the customer has saved or what the customer has sent to you. You can attach the document and then go into the quotation, okay, and automatically select that the customer has accepted it. Now before I click on the accept, you will notice that, let's go back to that customer zone. You will also notice that if I go back to my quote, you will see I have 2 quotations that has been raised for this customer on this particular day. The first one has been accepted, the second one is still pending. Now this status accepted will only show when the company also accepts or indicates that the customer has accepted the quotation. So it's a two-way chain. Okay, the customer will accept, then we as a company will also accept and then carry the transaction forward. So should the customer see that his transaction is still pending, maybe after 48 hours, then the customer should be worried. The customer should probably call the company, because what it simply means is that nobody is treating that request. Okay, but the moment whoever is treating the request changes that particular item or transaction to accepted, okay, should the person change it to accepted, the customer will have a change as well. So if I refresh this browser, you will also see that that quotation has been accepted from the customer end as well. Okay, all right, apart from that, so before we leave that page, there are other things the customer can access from the customer zone. The customer can see various quotation, obviously, various payments that has been made, if any, and the customer can also print their statements, okay, online. Okay, so you don't have to call the company again to print out your statement. You can print out the statement online whenever you want to. Okay, and the customer can also see invoices that has been raised against him or her, should there be any. All right. Okay, so moving forward, the transaction we're dealing with is that one, right? All right, so now we have raised the quotation for this customer. The next thing will now be to invoice the customer and move the transaction forward, right? Now we can raise the invoice from here, or we can leave this screen. Okay, go to the invoice screen and raise the invoice from there. All right, so I prefer to actually raise the invoice from here. So from this quotation, since we have gotten the go ahead, I can create an invoice. So to say you are creating a tax invoice from this quote, the quote status will be changed to invoice, and then I say okay, and then the system will bring forth the invoicing screen with all the items that I have displayed earlier. Okay, and then here you can see I indicated that okay, the customer needs to pay into this particular bank account, as the case may be. Okay, all right, so from here the same thing applies. If I email this to the customer, the customer will get a link containing the invoice, and the customer has the flexibility of accepting or rejecting the invoice. I also have the option of printing a delivery note that will go with this item, so more or less like a shipping document that will go with this item. So I can say print invoice and print delivery note as well. So if I say print invoice and print delivery note, let's see what happens here. So the system will download a tax invoice and a delivery note all in one. So that's the sales invoice, that's the delivery address down there, and this is the delivery note. So these two documents will go with the truck that will be or with the vehicle or motorcycle that will be delivering this particular item. Okay, all right, let's go back now. So now we have invoiced the customer. So if we go to our status or our list, if you go to customer quotes, for instance, you will see that that particular transaction has been invoiced. Okay, now we have invoiced. The next thing will be to accept payment from this customer for this particular invoice, which is so let's see the invoice number here. So go to tax invoices. Okay, that's the invoice number, which is INV 000024. Okay, now the status under the invoice obviously will show that it is unpaid. We have invoiced the customer has not paid us yet. Okay, now in order to capture a payment, what you do is you can also come here and capture the payment, or you can go to the payment side of things, transaction, go to customer receipt and capture the payment. I prefer to actually do it from here, so I'll come to actions and then I'll go to create receipt. Okay, so just allow it for a while. Okay, so that's the invoice and that's the amount. Okay, so in here the system automatically will put in the amounts that the customer is paying. Should this amount be different from what the customer needs to pay, you have the option of also changing it. Okay, also notice here that you have the option of allocating this particular invoice to this particular payment automatically. Should you not do this allocation, so if I don't tick this, what it will simply do is at the point where you make this payment, this particular amount will be floating, so it will not be allocated to any invoice. That means you will have to go into the system and do the allocation manually. But because I want it allocated automatically, I can just tick that box there and the system will automatically allocate this particular payment against this particular invoice. So if I do a process, it does that seamlessly. And I can also do a process and also email the customer, so the customer is kept updated, okay, with every single transactions we do until closure. All right, now at this stage we have invoiced that particular if we go back to our tax invoice, we should see that the status will now change to paid. Okay, all right, that is exactly how to handle the quote to cash process in Sage 1. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please do like the video and thank you.